You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, my name is Iszuddin Ismail, but I'm also known as Dino. Maybe that's a lot easier to pronounce. And I have here with me Johnny Skoumbourdis from, I know him from
From Greece.
GroceryCRUD.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're from Greece.
Yeah. Yeah, my friends are calling me Johnny, or you can pronounce me John. So nice to meet you, by the
Right?
way,
Yeah,
Dino.
we can go with that. So right now, I'd like to congratulate you on this because you are my first guest on this new video show that I'm doing, where I will be interviewing PHP programmers as much as I can find and try to find out what they do with PHP and what they do when they're not doing programming on PHP. All right, so
Good
first, I'd like to congratulate you on that, and also thank you for being able to spend the time with me to do this video show.
Yeah, and thank you for me as well, because it's the first time ever that I'm showing my face to the internet with a video, so it will be
Wow.
challenging for both sides. So yeah.
All right.
And thank you for
Actually,
doing me the interview. It is important for me, and yeah, and
And
yeah.
I've been following you a little bit on GroceryCRUD and maybe on your mostly on GroceryCRUD, and I see that you also is starting to do your own YouTube channel now.
Yeah. So
So
I've started. With the YouTube channel, and my next video, actually, I wanted for the first time to show my face and speak naturally to people. So I'm trying some things here and there. I'm trying to do some videos with animation, and
Wow.
yeah, my next step was to have the half of the video to some small animation, and to speak as I would speak naturally with them, in person. But
All right.
the first time will be with you. You took the first time that I will
Thank
be in
you.
the internet. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you for agreeing to this. So how about we start at the very beginning about you and how you got started with PHP, maybe a little bit about your background.
Yeah.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background before doing programming.
So after university, it was like the beginning of 2007, something like that. I did started my first job as a PHP programmer. And basically back then we were doing, imagine that the Internet Explorer 5.5 and Internet Explorer 6 was most popular with Mozilla. So we're having a hard time just for the HTML and the JavaScript. So we were focusing only to the PHP HTML side. But later on years, JavaScript were most popular in some big libraries. Started in my job to switch from PHP, basically from the backend side, to start working with JavaScript. So the last 3 years at my work, I'm doing mostly JavaScript. So it is like all the JavaScript new frameworks like ECMAScript 6 and React.js and all the popular new frameworks. But at the meanwhile, because I'm having a GroceryCRUD that it's always a project up and running, I'm up to date to the PHP frameworks and everything that has to do with PHP and some backend technologies. So I would say that now I'm a web developer, so everything that has to do with a web application, I can create it with more focus to the front-end side. So I would prefer, and I like more, the front-end side for the reason that I did explain before, because you are doing something and you can straight away see the results of it. And that's good not only for others, but for me as well, because I'm getting an inspiration when I'm creating something, and I can see the results with my own eyes rather than saying, okay, I did spend like 2 weeks and I have an okay message at my console, for example.
Yeah, I think over the years how the web or web design has changed, right? With JavaScript and
Yeah,
Ajax and all those
exactly.
stuff, a lot of work has to be done on the front end as well.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And it's not an easy work
right.
nowadays. So people that um, hate JavaScript, I think they haven't really learned about the benefits that it has. And also, this video, I think it is good, if we have time, of course, to inspire also newcomers to JavaScript and PHP to see how awesome is really to work with those technologies. Because things changed, it's not the same as it was even 2 years before. So, and because the JavaScript frameworks are getting more and more popular, and JavaScript is getting one of the most popular languages, it is good to see it and learn it and see the actual benefits of them. Yeah, this is like a summary of my background.
How about this? Do you mind if we get a little bit personal?
Yeah, yeah.
So, quick question: are you married? Any
Yeah,
kids?
I'm married
Oh wow!
and I have um, one kid, so a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a newborn baby,
Oh wow!
and it's
Congratulations!
yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, I have to say that it's very inspirational. Things changed. As far as I know, you have kids, right?
Yes, I have
So
three.
yeah, so you know how it is changing your life, and you seems happy, so that means you have kids.
I am.
So yeah, now I understood. So things are getting more difficult, but it's good because you can see your inspiration every day. So I
Right.
have to say that this is helping me a lot, and yeah, I recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How about this? How about we talk about Codeigniter? So I
Mhm.
know you about from GroceryCRUD,
Mhm.
right? It's a tool where it is easy for Codeigniter
Yeah,
programmers because GroceryCRUD is developed for Codeigniter. So you
yeah,
must have had Codeigniter exposure before that.
yeah, yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about how you got introduced to Codeigniter and why you
Mhm.
start using it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so at the beginning, at my first web agency, we were using, as all the programmers started with native PHP.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine a very big code base with only functions, and usually 2 or 3 people were doing the exact same thing, and it was difficult to share code, and it was difficult to extend it. So pretty much the only solution was each person had their own project, and they were using their own tools. But for example, if someone wanted to support the other project, it was difficult.
Right.
And a developer came in this company. His name is George, and he introduced us the Codeigniter. At the beginning, it was very difficult for us to follow him because he was talking about controllers and MVC and drivers, and this has to be a view and not the database should be a most like an object, and it was all like very difficult at the beginning. So
You need
imagine
to
when we
have
start.
kind of like a special mindset for it.
What do you mean special minds?
A
Do
different
we
way of
have?
thinking. as opposed to like
yeah,
previously,
exactly.
you
A
do
different way
modular
of
function
thinking.
and functions. Now
Yeah.
with
And we didn't know the actual benefits of them.
right.
So, but because we trusted this person, we wanted to just start it. So what we did, this is the truth. We started with, okay, so we will do the very minimum. We will start with Codeigniter, just the first page to see how it is. Okay,
Just the
so we
first
started with the
page.
first, like to install it to our
Oh, all right.
computer. So we've installed it and we say, okay, so now what we will do, we will copy all of our code to Codeigniter to just see it working at Codeigniter, and that's it for the beginning. So what we did at the beginning is taking all of our PHP code with all our functions and add it to views. So it was not
Oh wow.
a Codeigniter. Yeah, it was like a mix of Codeigniter and our own code. Imagine then we had customers that we were waiting for a product, so we didn't have enough time to say, okay, wait until we learn
Right.
Codeigniter
Of
and
course.
then we will deliver your project.
Of
We say,
course.
okay, we want this for this week. So a quick phase to have both is to copy everything. And this was at the beginning very good because we started just to understand the controller and the function. And later we were adding things. So for example, at the beginning I said, okay, I will not create a new PHP file, I will create a new function. So it was much
Right.
easier to create a function and call your PHP file. Later I said, okay, let's not call the whole query, let's do it with Codeigniter. We saw that this was difficult at the beginning. We said, okay, we will do our queries as we know. Let's see the views. So let's separate the views. So we separated the views. Oh, this is working. So it was like whenever we had time, we were implementing smaller parts and we were seeing the results. And then after that, we were adding more and more. And this senior developer was helping us. It helped us a lot to extend our knowledge in pretty much everything. So later we very familiar with Codeigniter, and we found really easy. But at the end, we found that Codeigniter was more easy to learn. And for me, I suggest Codeigniter for very beginners because in order to go to a framework, you first need to change your mindset and later to go to the most complicated part. And I think Codeigniter is very good because you can start easily without big knowledge of even at MVC or difficult parts, because everything just works. So it's an easy start. Do you have experience with
Some people have.
what is your experience with
I think
Codeigniter?
with Codeigniter, I have only code with Codeigniter. I have a little bit experience with others, but I haven't really do real work with other frameworks. So Codeigniter is still my favorite. But I
That's
think
fine.
yeah, yeah, like what you said, right? I think Codeigniter is good for beginners because it's very loose. Everything just work. But to
Exactly.
some, they say like it's very because of the lack of control, people tend to code it in their own way. So
Yeah,
some say that
that's
it's
true.
not good, but I think it's good for the beginners to have some experience. I still
Exactly.
believe like Codeigniter is easy to learn, and for people like us, it's easy to teach,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Others, like of course, there's Laravel, there's some other stuff. They come with a lot of command line tools. Where apart from that, you need Composer, you need this and you
Yeah.
need that, and before you need Composer, you need Node.js. What was it? You need
Yeah,
a lot
now
of
you need Node.js as well for the JavaScript part. Yeah, it's not
yeah.
required, but yeah.
You need a lot of there's a lot of dependencies. So
Yeah,
I think, like you said, I agree with you. Codeigniter is a good place to start when it comes to
yeah, exactly.
PHP frameworks and MVC concepts. All right,
Yeah,
let's get back to
Codeigniter
you.
is like the only framework that I know that it has like zero configuration. So you just download it and it works, and that's it. So it's not like you have to do, no, you don't have to do anything. It just works, and now you can start learning.
Yeah, you can start
So
learning.
that's the good part.
How about this? When did GroceryCRUD came about?
Yeah, so before that, because I didn't remember, I was seeing the analytics really. So it started at the May of 2011. So
2011,
I
right?
started at, published, let's say, the site at 2011. But it took me also, can you hear me? Because you froze.
It took you what?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
but you're breaking up. I can hear you, but you're breaking. Okay, let's try again.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Okay, now, what about now?
Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's coming and going. The quality of my connection. I'm sorry about that. I need to get that fixed before I do the next one.
That's
The
fine.
next interview. Okay. You were saying 2011.
Okay, so maybe, yeah, so 2011, I did publish it to the public, let's say, but it took me 1 year to create it. Can you hear me well? Because I can
Yes.
see your, okay, good. um, So yeah, but it took me 1 year to create it. So it took me fully 6 months from scratch to create everything, and extra more 6 months um, to add the extra functionality. So imagine the first release was after 1 year of constant development every day. So it was my first release was at 2011. And when I first started, I was sending a lot of links, like in the Codeigniter forum, like in other forums, like I did some AdWord. I was answering questions, like I was pretty much everywhere, and I didn't have enough of attention. So I didn't know how to show to people that I have something, a good product. I also had, and I still have, so my basic traffic was at the webanddevelopment.com. So I have a personal blog there. And it seems that still it wasn't enough. So imagine when I'm talking about visits, at the beginning I had like 0 to 5 people per day. So it was like, this was the beginning. And I saw that the most famous blog post, it was not the GroceryCRUD, although it was first and at the top, it was the autocomplete of Codeigniter, because Codeigniter functions doesn't have autocomplete. And I did create a library just adding it, and your editor had the autocomplete. So for example, this DB something, you can have the autocomplete of the functions, so you know how to use it. And so I did start it like that, and it had 5 to 10 people per day. But I have to say that I was really happy about that, because I was just realizing that 10 people from all the world, every day, they are seeing the CRUD, and it was something new to me. I said, wow, this is great. Like, and later it was going 10 to 15, and I said, wow, this is a good thing. Although I was sending emails through MailChimp. I was doing really hard marketing, and I couldn't get the attention, but I was still okay with that because even 15 people per day, that means like 400, 500 people per month. It was enough people that I will never meet. So it was, for me, it was a mind-blowing thing that I can do that. So I remember myself after 6 months, I had 56 visits for one day only. And I did treat my friends beer, like I would say, like 56 visits. Let's drink some beer for that. We need to
We need to celebrate.
and later, yeah, exactly. And later, more and more people were getting in, and they were understanding the quality of that. And I did notice that people was not getting into with my links. They were just talking to each other. So with the word of mouth, they were getting in. I will give you an example. So for example, when I had one visit from France, suddenly all the week was visits from France. When I had one visit from Germany, it was more visits from Germany. And I said, wow, like I was doing all of this kind of stuff, and just people said, oh, look at this CRUD. Yeah, and the developers were talking to each other, and this is how. So the first thing was that I saw that people were talking about. And the second thing, the big change that I did, is to change the website, just the website, so the design of the website, to do it more like HTML5 and new easy parts with easier documentation to read. And this was enough to give a big growth to the website. So the product was exactly the same. I didn't do any big core changes, and I saw the growth getting higher and higher. And one last thing, I promise.
It's okay.
Okay. It was one day, so I had something like 300, 400 visits per day. And Codeigniter by themselves in the Facebook, they did that one link to me. And at that day, I had 1,700 visits.
Oh, wow.
The server went down, not about the traffic, because the server was crappy. Sorry about that. And I could have even more. And suddenly, I did realize it the next day because I was sleeping. So next day I saw 1,700, and my site was down for like 6. I'm now pressing the link and they can't see it. And later I saw like they were coming like 700, 600, and then back to the 400. So I was pretty lucky that Codeigniter mentioned me, but I did lose this more attention. But from there on, it went more famous. So after that, Google also recognized it, and my result was higher. So because at that day, and when I started GroceryCRUD, it was because I desperately searching for a library like that, and I couldn't find any part of that, like anything even small to extend it. So I did say, okay, I have to create it. And it's still like the only one that has a CRUD, like a library for Codeigniter. So that's why it became famous. And I hit the top that it's saying. It's like 1,600 visits per day. And this is the normal, because those are the people that are searching for Codeigniter CRUD. And it's been like stable for Codeigniter. This is the community really that are searching. So that was my story. I don't know if you have questions about anything that I just mentioned.
Yeah, I think it's. I like what you shared. So that really is an interesting story. I wanted to ask about the motivation why you did that, why you created GroceryCRUD, but I think you already answered that just now. So I think I agree with you where up to this day, apart from GroceryCRUD, I don't know any other that is at least on par as what you have when it comes to a CRUD system for Codeigniter. Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
really have to thank you for creating GroceryCRUD and giving it away to the public, to the programmers. Thank you.
my idea was this is something that doesn't exist, and I wanted just to be at the internet, and people will extend it. So it was mainly something to be there as an idea and then see what I will do next. So it was like there is nothing there. There is not the, let's say, the culture to create a library with a CRUD. Why it's that? Let's publish it and start an idea in order to extend it and see how it will go. So with this, I will gain as well, because the same code, I will use it for my company and I will use it for other projects as well. And this is, I'll give you an example, rather create a website within 1 month, I can create it like in 1 day, because I'm just designing the front end. So at the beginning, because people want to see something faster, it is good to start with a ready CRUD. And because things are getting improved, you can't just have a CRUD generator that you are pressing a button and all the code is generated, and after 2 years everything is old and you need to rewrite everything from the beginning. So because it was not the idea there at the internet, I wanted to create something to be there and to speak with people and see how they are thinking about it. And this is the main reason that I did it. So yeah, open source, I think it was the only choice for me at the beginning, because I wanted to see how things are getting into the internet. So how you connect with people, how, for example, how you do marketing, how something is getting more famous. So things that I didn't know and I wanted to learn, I've learned them. And for example, now I have a more experience about how you can build something at the internet, how you can have a product, for example, how it's something with value, and to do other things like now my new idea is to do the YouTube channel and help people to learn stuff that I've learned with my experience. So I'm saying, okay, having 10 years experience in programming, I don't want to have 10 more and not teaching to other people anything. So I would prefer to take a step back and say, okay, these 10 years, what I've learned. There are newcomers that they are starting their work right now. They can't find the first work, or they are struggling a lot with PHP, or even a simple HTML page that you can't find the help, because everyone say, yeah, it's just HTML, you know, it's just PHP. Yeah, it's Codeigniter, you will figure it out.
Or just Google it.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm having this need to teach some basic things first, and that's why I had the YouTube channel, but now I'm adding more videos that are teaching other stuff rather than GroceryCRUD. So far I did a video for Codeigniter 4, and the other was Codeigniter versus Laravel. And my next video, although I don't want to promise, probably it will be done in time, is for programmers, like how you can find your first job as a programmer if you don't have experience. Because there is a paradox out there that they all need a 2 years experience. So how you can actually start if you don't have the 2 years experience? So I want to explain my experience about that, and also help people to find their first job, for example, or at least know some things that I know from my experience.
All right, this YouTube channel of yours, where is it? Where can people find it?
If you search currently, it's not to my name, it's from GroceryCRUD. So if you search at Google GroceryCRUD YouTube, you can see my channel.
So
And
the GroceryCRUD YouTube channel.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay.
And if you scroll down there at the GroceryCRUD.com webpage, you can see the links, Facebook, Twitter. You can see also the YouTube, and so it's if you search,
awesome.
you will find.
All right. I've looked at GroceryCRUD, right, over the past few years, and maybe more recently over the past few months. You've released some commercial version and enterprise versions.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that? How, why did you do that, and how are people accepting that?
Yeah, so what I wanted to do, so I did show that in Codeigniter, for the last 2 years, things are stable. So I have the same amount of visit, I'm doing the same amount of work, so I'm doing slightly changes. The GroceryCRUD that we have now at the community is difficult to change. Everything is dependent in small parts, work around here and there. Everything is just working fine, but in order to change something is very difficult. So what I wanted to do is to refactor everything. So what I did is I did start with the refactoring. So I did spend 1 year in order to create everything from scratch. So I did say I will design every step from scratch. So I did create wonderful classes and objects and everything. So after 1 year, I realized, okay, this is really difficult to do it. I have to refactor it again. No, this is a real story. So I did spend 1.5 years more in order to be in a stage now and have the enterprise version. So it was a big challenge because I'm talking about any PHP framework and any database really. So it's like of challenging, and I did want to extend it even more. Now this is the vision, to extend it to more languages as well. So no matter if you are using PHP, to do it for Node.js, for example, or Ruby on Rails, or .NET, or anything. So in order to do that, I did separate the front-end side with the back-end side. So currently the architecture, that I haven't spoke about it, but I want to document it to have designs as well for that, is the whole part is at the front end. So everything that you see is JavaScript in the front. And at the back end, it is just some API calls. So at the back end is just simple answers. So you can do a create, insert, update, and delete, and you can get some data, and that's it, nothing more. So, and because it's that easy, then if you want to extend it to another language, you can easily do it, because I did find that, for GroceryCRUD, this is something famous, not because you can write great PHP libraries, but because it's really easy to use it. So the usability is really easy, and that's why you are using it. So I wanted to separate the JavaScript with the backend. Now, with the price, I really did want to have some steps. So, for example, the GroceryCRUD for community is great, and you can use it, and it has everything. So currently, if you compare those two versions, the enterprise has some more benefits. So, for example, if you want to use it in another framework or with another database, that's something extra. Or you want faster queries, for example, or you want some other part that I'm writing at the website. But if you can't afford it, for example, you can still get a very good and tested CRUD. So it's not that I'm stopping developing the open source program. It is I am extending another version. So I'm seeing like a different market because I want to learn also some other stuff. So the product, how a product can get more famous, for example, or how we can extend that, or how I can have people maybe work on these products, and how the comparison will be also. So, for example, now in some parts, community may have some features that the enterprise doesn't have. So some dirty, let's say, some dirty community workers that work for people. So it's not like it is always better. It is a stronger base, and at the future it will be much better. Yes, but at the meanwhile, it is the community edition that it's still in development.
You know, some of the things I like. I see that a lot of open source projects, they would always have the community version and enterprise version as one of the ways to support the open source project itself, because the project, it has to be making money.
Exactly.
It can support the community project as well.
Yeah, that's true. So as far as it's not about the money, but as far as the product is getting bigger, I will have also more time for the development of the community edition, because it needs like to be at the forums, it needs the website, that although people seem that it's easy, but it's a high traffic website, so it needs some parts constantly to change. I did change, for example, the whole design of the website again. So it's kind of tricky to keep track. And because the donations were not enough to even support the hosting, yeah, that's true. So instead of saying, okay, it will be like a community edition that nobody will care and suddenly will die. Rather than that, we are supporting it. So it is always a support. It is just that people, of course, can't see it that way. But this is the truth, because they see, okay, now you have a price, before you haven't. But things will need to work, and I need time to do that. So.
I think it's fine though that you have a community edition and also the enterprise edition, where the enterprise edition also supports back the community edition, where in that way. But I also like how you pointed out where the community edition, because it's being the community base, the enterprise may not have some of the features of the community edition itself. I think one example that I myself experienced with GroceryCRUD is that I like it that there's this one user, a member, shared a way on how to have what do you call it? A dependent drop down.
The dependence, yeah, I know. Yeah. You see that I knew the.
Yeah, so I like for example, that one. So I'm not sure whether you have that in the enterprise version or not, but I think you can do that with the community version. And
and you can't do that with the enterprise. That's the truth for now. So so imagine 2011 and now, so it is like 8 years.
Wow.
No, 7. No, sorry.
6.
6 years. So the community edition is 6 years of constant development, right? Even if you don't see some development at the commit history, because now they will start checking the commits, it is still, if you do one small change, it may end up with a new feature, for example. So Yeah, as you said, this is a 6 years project, and the enterprise is like a 1 year project, and live it's only like about 4 months, I think, 4 or 5 months. So it is something new, but this will scale. So for example, for the dependency, I knew that you will say it is my next feature that I want to do, but I first need to do a stronger base for the enterprise. So I'm not afraid of doing, I wanted to create a blog for that also to explain it. In the enterprise, I'm doing 1 step forward and 2 step back. So I'm creating a new feature and I'm taking some step back to see it, to create some unit test, for example, to rewrite the code, to make it a stronger base, so to add more features that they will work. So for example, the dependency edition, I've heard that it doesn't work very well with the bootstrap themes. For example, it had some issues. And this is because it's a community third party and it wasn't actively developed. But when this functionality will exist in GroceryCRUD Enterprise, it will work with much more thought about it. So when I'm creating a new feature, I'm thinking about it a lot. So I will create it once, and then it can extend itself. So even at the enterprise, I have to say that all the functionalities are the one. I have some new functionality. So for example, the visibility of the columns, that it was something that everyone was expecting to have, to hide or show. So to hide or show the columns, for example. Usually they have a lot of columns, but you couldn't hide them. So they ended up with lot of columns. So now in the enterprise version, you can live add or remove some. So the end user can remove or add columns at the front end side. And also, for example, at the search, at the enterprise, it has the bigger or equal or smaller than, and this kind of part. Yeah, this is important as well. But slowly, I'm adding more and more features. So, for example, some new functionality is like the multiple upload functionality that I want to add. So my very next functionality is the multiple upload functionality.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, the Ajax relations. And Ajax set relations. So for example, now with the set relations on both enterprise and community, you can have like maximum, I don't know, like 500 entries. But what if you have at the relation like 100,000 of entries? You can't do it because it's the relation loading all the data there. But if you have a relation that it's doing with an Ajax request, it will be much better. And when I will do that, I will do the dependency feature that many people are asking for. I have to say that.
Yeah, I understand about what you're saying, where you have to take like a two step backward to make sure that you have a better foundation, better base, where with that it'll be a lot easier to extend other features. Yeah, I can understand why you need to do that.
And I'm not in rush because I want people to use it. So I care more to people to use it rather than sell it, really. So that's why. So for example, now I had those links everywhere, and I had this marketing that I was seeing many people start getting it. So for now, I did stop some links to make sure that the people that buying it, I can support them, see what they are getting, if they have any issues to help them, and then continue with the others. So so my vision is mainly people to use it and start loving it rather than buy it and say, okay, just another tool that I
Actually,
that I bought and
I like GroceryCRUD because
yeah,
number one, it's a Codeigniter. Number two, it works, and
yeah,
I think one of the features that I really like is all the callbacks. Like all the changes that I need to do, all the extra features that I need to do, I can just do it with the
exactly.
callbacks. For example, like when you add a new when you add a new record, you want some other stuff to be done, or when you save something, when you do an update, you want something else to be done. So all that can just be done with the callbacks. I think, and that's one of the features that I really like. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I
exactly.
think,
And enterprise version has much more callbacks
oh
on
wow,
that. And yeah, and also I want to have also callbacks in JavaScript. I don't have it
mm,
yet, but this is also a next step. So the thing is that people are starting getting more and more, and they boss asking more and more things like are when I click here I want to do this and this, so it requires a lot of JavaScript and it's very difficult to do it at the community version. But if you have some callbacks in the front end side as well, it will make it more easier. So imagine pretty much everything that you are seeing to be able to have some callbacks running at the JavaScript side, so you can create your own implementation. So let's say when I'm pressing this button,
how about
so
let's talk.
JavaScript, yeah,
Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Codeigniter 4. Though
yeah,
you spoke a little bit on your YouTube video, do you mind sharing a little bit of your personal insights when it comes to Codeigniter 4?
yeah. So first of all, I wasn't using it before, so I did see some parts of PHP 7 that are good. I saw that mainly was the speed that was changed, so it is faster than the previous one. From the functionality perspective, PHP 5.6, it was. Then I called Igniter 4. I saw many things new, and that's a good thing. In my personal experience, it has a big work to do. Uh, because I know how it is to refactor things. When you refactor things, it's a lot of things that you need to consider. And for me, this was the best choice to refactor it, although it's the most difficult part. So I don't. So it's like difficult to get everything that you want to. So I would say I'm very enthusiastic with the new Codeigniter. It's a very good step forward with what they are doing, but it will be hard to migrate to Codeigniter 4 and be more famous and famous. I will give you one example that it's simple. So for example, yesterday, I had an issue with Codeigniter 3.3, and I did update it to the 3.14, something like that. And what I just did remove the system, replace it with a new one, and that was it. Everything was working. So how easy I did an upgrade to the whole framework. It was something that it will probably not happen that simple at the new Codeigniter. So for example, even Laravel, if you update to a new version, you need to read it first, see the changes, see what changed, etc. Yes, so I think they are doing a great job, but it is a very hard job as well.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, more at my video.
Yeah, I think part of it when it comes to refactoring the whole thing and building the new Codeigniter 4, it's not just about adding features and whatnot. It's about some political stuff as well. you're kind of like talking to the community, what
Yeah,
should we have, what should we not have, and some debates are
exactly.
going on back and forth. Some would um, um, support some features, some would not support that feature. So that are some of the challenges apart from programming itself.
Imagine, yeah, imagine this is the easy part.
Mm-hmm.
So they had even more difficult parts. So with the features, that's fine because they have an idea of what features Codeigniter 3 had. On the other hand, it is difficult. You said the correct thing, like it's difficult to support it. So that's one part. The other part is to lead also. So at the Laravel, each of Laravel was constantly develop everything. So the author of Laravel really did something that it was impossible. He said that I will create the perfect code, and he did it. So Laravel is just a perfect code for me. It is like a poem of code. And if you ask any programmer, they will say, okay, this is impossible. In reality, you never do that because it needs lot of your time, lot of your leading to other peoples to explain them, and it never happened because you can't really focus to only this part. You have to see the full picture. And if you see the history of Laravel, it started slowly, like the GroceryCRUD, and hand by hand, few to few people were migrating, and now it's more and more famous.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, if you see some Laravel, it's mainly some typos that they are because it's actually there. So what did you ask me first? Because I'm speaking now about Laravel, and I
This is
don't know.
fine. It's fine. So, okay, since we're talking about Laravel now, I think we're about going to the end of the our interview. We've taken up a lot of time actually. Honestly, you started out with Codeigniter, you still do
Okay.
Codeigniter, and with GroceryCRUD mostly is from Codeigniter background. Though you said it's gonna be more kind of like JavaScript front end stuff, and it's gonna be open up to all other programming language as well. But even so, my big question
Okay.
for you at this point in time, which do you prefer to develop on, Laravel or Codeigniter?
Okay. So Codeigniter versus Laravel. I have a video for more details. So the answer is not just straight this or that. It is more complicated. If I want to do something really fast, so for example, if I want to create a whole project in one day and everything is functional and it's working, Codeigniter will be my first choice. I'm more familiar with it. I can add more stuff faster. But if they tell me that, there is a big project that we want to do, and 5 people also will be developing, and we want you to do some code, but to also lead the team, and we want you to choose also a good framework to work with, I would choose Laravel as the best choice. So it depends. So, for example, Codeigniter is good to start with. If you have junior developers, they can start straight away. But Laravel is better if you want to extend your functionality. So
Yeah.
that's a short summary of what I would choose best. And I have a detailed video. If you Google at YouTube Codeigniter versus Laravel, you can find my video that I'm explaining pretty much all my thoughts about it.
Awesome. Great answer.
So what I was saying is the community edition may have some features that, because the community did create, may not be at the enterprise, but because I have a knowledge of pretty much all the features that exist at the community, I want to create everything at the enterprise as well. So while having a strong base, the functionalities will be added, like the dependent drop-down list, for example. And at the meanwhile, um, GroceryCRUD Enterprise has more callbacks, not at the PHP side, and plus that I will add callbacks at the JavaScript as well. So what that means that in every section that you can see, you can start adding some callbacks as you were doing in the PHP side. So imagine when you're pressing a button, you can have a callback. When you editing something, you can have a callback. So imagine all of the third parties functionality that you may want to introduce from the JavaScript side, you can easily add it at the GroceryCRUD Enterprise. And as you said, this is the coolest feature at GroceryCRUD. So imagine having that at the front-end side as well. So this is my main vision about enterprise.
All right. Okay. I think that is awesome. Having callbacks on the front end as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we've covered a lot in this time, and I really, really thank you for your time for doing this with me. How about some last messages that you can give out to new programmers, new PHP programmers coming into the market, looking for work and stuff, and people for people like that? What can you say to them?
I want to say to them that it's a great word. First of all, in my experience, so if you are the first, like if you are in have in mind one thing, that this is something that you are creating. So don't have it as a programming to a PC. It is rather I'm creating something that doesn't exist. So focus on that to create something that you like. And the good part of it is that you are talking to the whole internet. So I wouldn't be I wouldn't have GroceryCRUD that known if it was not the internet. So, for example, I'm from Greece. Statistically, there are few people that from Greece that they are using it. The most of them are from USA and from India. So imagine a very big, so very far away from here, you can actually help other people. So for newcomers, have in mind that don't give up, create something awesome, do great connections through the internet, and yeah, I hope you will enjoy it as much as I am doing. And I guess you also have you also have some service, right? That you are creating. I don't know if this is about me, but I think this will inspire also others for you also to say something about how do you feel. For example, you have a service. I don't know if you want to say it or not, but how do you feel about creating that?
Oh, okay. Well, one of the things that I'm starting to get involved is right now, I'm not the main developer, I'm not the creator of this, but I'm starting to get involved with this project. It's called RunCloud. RunCloud is a software as a service for you to help you deploy, configure, monitor, and manage your PHP servers. Right, so with this RunCloud, you can have servers from anywhere. Let's say DigitalOcean, Linode, AWS, Vultr, or any of those, and you can have run from one control panel in RunCloud. You can see all those servers. Of course, you have to do a bit of connection to it beforehand, get it set up and whatnot. But afterwards, you can see all those servers from one panel, manage it from one panel, add domain names, do SSL setups, create new web application. It supports any PHP framework, Laravel, Codeigniter, Cake, whatnot. Uh, so this is what we're doing at RunCloud, is to help PHP programmers deploy, configure, manage, and monitor your servers. Yeah, I think
That's
this is.
great. So, how do you feel about that? Is it something you are thinking about it? Like there will be a PHP programmer that you will make their life easier.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
have the control of everything.
yeah.
And yeah,
Like previously, I feel how I got involved with this because I'm first was a user of this project, but I'm really close to the creator. They showed
okay.
me about what they have, and I give it a try, and now I have like 4 servers on RunCloud itself. Personally, my personal projects, I have 4 servers in there. One is on DigitalOcean, one is on Linode, one is on I think maybe 2 on Linode, and another one is on one on AWS, and another one
Okay.
in web hosting in Malaysia, in my country. So previously, for you to be able to set up a server like that, you need to like go into the
Yeah, I
command
know.
line, install Apache, install MySQL, install PHP, all the
Yeah.
dependencies, this module, that module, and before that you go scouring the internet, you look for tutorials and lessons, and that could take hours. It really does take hours.
Not hours, days.
Yeah, yeah. So
I
with
remember with
RunCloud,
Amazon, by the way, I'm not using Amazon anymore. I'm using like DigitalOcean,
DigitalOcean.
and I'm using Amazon for it has many services. So my email is at Amazon, my CloudFront, all the CDN, it's in Amazon. I'm using for storage. Uh, Probably I will send you this video through the storage of S3. But it is not as easy to start installing. So at the beginning, you don't have anything. You don't even have the port 80 ready.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't really ping the server that you just installed. So it's like a bit of, yeah, interesting, I would say. But yeah, I can understand that. And services like yours help people to create better. So one last thing that I forgot to say is that a next step after the GroceryCRUD enterprise, because I like always to think more things. So I'm never stopping about creating things because I like it. I have in mind to create a service that I don't want to announce it just yet, but a service to help PHP programmers more. So it's not like yours, don't worry.
Okay.
It is like a service like something like as a CMS have in mind. It's not a CMS, it doesn't have anything with CMS, but imagine an online CMS, for example, something like that. And I think those services are making not only programmers' life easier, but they can create new things. So I'm focusing on that because I would rather help people create new things because I will learn more things about it rather to, I don't know, just work on something, give it, and that's it. Like, yeah, so well done with your job. I saw the website, it seemed very
Thank
good
you.
and easy. I maybe use it at the future.
I hope so.
Yeah. And thank you for having this interview. It went very well, I have to say. Okay, we had some interruptions, but as you said, if you can edit it, that's fine. And thank you very much for everything. And I think that's it.
Yeah, yeah. As from me as well, I also would like to thank you for being on this video conference with me, doing this interview with me. It's the first time for both of us,
Yeah.
and I think we should do this again when you
Yeah.
have that service ready.
Yeah. 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 Why not?
All right. I
Yeah,
guess
of
until
course.
then, we'll be in touch in the
Yeah.
forums and in Facebook maybe. And thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I guess
Thank-
I'm gonna stop recording now.